Carlos Alcaraz embarrassed as Aryna Sabalenka makes hilarious Jannik blunder after US Open triumph. The atmosphere following the US Open always carries a mix of triumph, relief, and humor. This year, the celebrations took a particularly unexpected turn when Aryna Sabalenka, the fiery and charismatic tennis star, inadvertently caused a scene that left Carlos Alcaraz visibly embarrassed and the tennis community buzzing. The incident revolved around a light-hearted but awkward mix-up involving Jannik, sparking laughter, confusion, and a viral moment that is now being talked about just as much as the on-court victories themselves. What began as a joyous moment of celebration for Sabalenka's impressive triumph turned into an evening where her humor and spontaneity took center stage, leaving Alcaraz to deal with the fallout of a hilarious yet slightly uncomfortable blunder. The story has since grown into one of the most memorable off-court narratives of the tournament, showcasing the human side of athletes who are often seen as composed professionals. A celebration gone off script. Fresh from her own triumph, Aryna Sabalenka was in high spirits. Known for her larger-than-life personality, she has often been the life of the party in press conferences, interviews, and post-match celebrations. On this occasion, her bubbly nature led her to joke about fellow players, but her playful words took a turn that neither she nor Carlos Alcaraz could have anticipated. As she mingled with other players and members of the media, Sabalenka made a reference to Jannik in a way that completely derailed the usual tone of celebration. With laughter in her voice, she confused details about Sinner's career and personal rapport with Alcaraz, accidentally blending their competitive rivalry with a misstatement that sounded far more personal than intended. The crowd erupted into laughter, but the cameras immediately caught Alcaraz's reaction. The young Spanish champion, usually poised and confident, appeared flustered and slightly embarrassed by Sabalenka's slip. While he tried to brush it off with a smile, his body language betrayed the fact that he wished the floor would open and swallow him whole. Why the blunder hit so hard? The incident was funny on the surface, but the reason it struck such a chord is that Alcaraz and Sinner share one of the most compelling rivalries in modern tennis. Both are young, immensely talented, and seen as the future of the sport. Their matches are often electrifying, filled with long rallies, breathtaking shot-making, and an intensity that harks back to the golden eras of tennis. Because of this, any mention of Sinner in Alcaraz's presence tends to carry added weight. Sabalenka's accidental mix-up, part compliment, part confusion, blurred the lines between rivalry and camaraderie in a way that caught everyone off guard. It was the kind of joke that might have worked among friends behind closed doors but, in front of cameras and journalists, instantly snowballed into an internet sensation. Alcaraz's reaction. Alcaraz's embarrassment was telling. As a player who is still in the early stages of navigating superstardom, he has always prided himself on maturity well beyond his years. His sportsmanship, humility, and focus on the game are often praised as much as his athleticism. Yet, when Sabalenka made her hilarious gaffe, the young Spaniard showed a rare vulnerability. The clip of him awkwardly laughing, covering his face, and shaking his head quickly made the rounds online. Fans dissected his every gesture, from the way he rubbed the back of his neck to the nervous glance he threw toward the ground. It was clear that, for all his accomplishments, Alcaraz is still adjusting to the spotlight and the unpredictability of live interactions. Sabalenka's spirited personality. On the other side of the incident was Sabalenka, whose personality has always leaned toward boldness and humor. She is not afraid to speak her mind, embrace her emotions, or bring levity to otherwise serious moments. In this case, she laughed off her own mistake, playfully apologizing in the moment but also doubling down on her laughter as others joined in. Her attitude seemed to suggest that she saw the humor in the blunder and wanted others to enjoy it as well. Rather than retreating in embarrassment, Sabalenka leaned into the moment, which only made the contrast with Alcaraz's bashful reaction more pronounced. Fans react. As with most viral sports moments, fans wasted no time in flooding social media with reactions. Memes were created within hours, with images of Alcaraz's embarrassed face juxtaposed against Sabalenka's laughing expression. Some fans teased that Sabalenka had broken Alcaraz more than any opponent could on court, while others joked that Sinner must have been laughing wherever he was watching. The reactions also showcased the evolving dynamic between tennis players and fans in the age of instant communication. Moments like this are no longer confined to a single press conference or event, they reverberate globally within minutes, creating narratives that extend far beyond the actual competition. The Alcaraz-Sinner rivalry. Part of what made the mix-up so funny, and so impactful, was the context of the Alcaraz-Sinner rivalry. Both players have already delivered some of the most memorable matches of the past few years. Their contrasting styles, yet evenly matched skill levels, create contests that feel destined to define a generation. For Sabalenka to inadvertently bring Sinner into her celebratory moment with Alcaraz highlighted just how intertwined their names have become. Even in situations that have nothing to do with matches, the mention of one seems to inevitably bring the other into the conversation. A glimpse into the human side of tennis. Beyond the humor and embarrassment, the incident served as a reminder that tennis players are human. They may be global icons, champions, and professionals, but they also share in the same awkward, funny, and sometimes embarrassing moments that ordinary people do. For Alcaraz, the episode was a lesson in navigating the unpredictable nature of fame. For Sabalenka, it was another example of her unfiltered personality shining through. And for fans, it was a chance to see their heroes in a more relatable, down-to-earth light. The aftermath. In the days following the blunder, the story continued to gain traction. Journalists asked both Alcaraz and Sabalenka about the moment, with each offering their own takes. Alcaraz tried to downplay the embarrassment, saying he understood it was all in good humor, while Sabalenka continued to laugh about the mistake, suggesting that it was a classic Sabalenka moment. Even Jannik Sinner himself was dragged into the fun, with many wondering how he reacted upon hearing about the mix-up. Whether he laughed privately or rolled his eyes, fans were certain he would not let Alcaraz live it down anytime soon. The bigger picture. Moments like this demonstrate the evolving culture of tennis. In the past, the sport was often associated with formality, restraint, and an emphasis on decorum. Today, however, younger players like Alcaraz, Sinner, and Sabalenka represent a new generation that is unafraid to show emotion, humor, and humanity. The viral nature of the incident underscores how tennis is adapting to a world where personality matters as much as performance.